What's up, YouTube? This is Alex Wink Inc. Michael, the numbers guy, the company man, and here's what I have for you today. CEOs. Earlier today, it looks like a list has come out from a website, I believe it's called asyousow.com, and it wound up on PC Gamer, which is why we're talking about it today. And we're talking about the CEOs of two companies that have been in the news here recently within the last couple weeks. And they have made this list. Now, what is this illustrious list that we are talking about? Well, it is about overpaid CEOs. And I wanted to take a little bit of time today to talk about whether this is correct or incorrect. Are these CEOs actually overpaid in terms of performance, or are they compensated fairly? And we want to talk about where they fell on the list, how this list kind of comes about. They compile this data, all this good stuff. But before we get into that, just a couple of announcements. I'm going to be making a few changes to the setup. I'm going to be changing a little bit of the lighting behind me, a little bit of changes to the channel as well. We're going to be doing pretty much some of the same things. We're going to be adding content. So I didn't want to just get strictly stuck into commentary. I think that makes for kind of a boring channel. So we'll obviously continue to do commentary, loot boxes, and then we're going to do a couple of different other things, maybe just like an all-inclusive news type show, and then maybe pertaining to gaming most specifically instead of deep dives like this. I'm kind of thinking we'll do some personal vlogs. I'm going to get into a little bit more of myself and what I do and kind of who I am, maybe to give me a little bit more credibility. So maybe I'll look like I know what the hell I'm talking about up here. I doubt it, though. But with that being said, I look forward to producing that stuff, making that stuff. I'm going to continue to do 3, 4, maybe even 5 videos a week. I'm going to probably add some more unboxings, going to add some gameplay stuff, some really obscure stuff. I'm excited. I'm just going to do some random stuff, throw it on here, see if we can kind of jumpstart the growth a little bit. Make sure we don't get stuck in a rut. But with all that, here we go. Let's talk about the CEOs and what companies we're talking about. So earlier today, an article came out on PC Gamer talking about two companies in particular, and their CEOs made a top 100 list of what they are calling quote-unquote overpaid CEOs. So the two companies in question are probably guessable by anybody. It would be Activision Blizzard and, of course, EA. And let's flip to this article and take a look. This is on PC Gamer. And Fraser Brown wrote this, and it says, Activision and EA CEOs appear on list of most overpaid in the U.S. Now, I got to be honest, I have heard of As You Sow. I don't know how much credibility they have or they've established. I am not exactly sure, to be honest, what all criteria they make or they use to label a CEO as overpaid. I will tell you that their body of work is very impressive. We're gonna check out their website in a minute that actually has this list, and it's quite extensive as far as they really explain how they got to this conclusion. They dropped this list, and PC Gamer just pulled the two, obviously, that pertain to games. They're saying their pay is more than 300 times that of an average employee. Now, I got to tell you, that is not uncommon for large companies to be in that threshold. Some are 400, 500, 600, 1,000 times more than the average employee, maybe even 1,500 times more than the average employee. So that doesn't surprise me as much. Honestly, it kind of surprised me a little bit in the sense of that it's that small of a gap more than anything. But they are still highly compensated and highly scrutinized at the moment. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. But just some framework here. It says Activision's Bobby Kotick and EA's Andrew Wilson are among the most overpaid CEOs in the U.S., according to As You Sow. This is a nonprofit that has been revealing, among other things, the pay gaps between employees and CEOs since 2015, and recently published its 2019 list featuring the pair. This As You Sow website does have an agenda, so keep that in mind when, if you do check this article out, and obviously link both of these articles below. So, take it for what you will. But they obviously have an agenda to, show labor gaps and things like that in the U.S. or in the world. I don't really know. I'll give them all the credit in the world that their data and research is very impressive as far as how they're coming to these conclusions. Let's get into it. So Bobby Kotick of Activision, which he celebrated record profits and laid off hundreds of employees, which more and more looks like a restructuring as opposed to a financial hardship. I mean, they had just shed a couple of IPs. They, got rid of, Destiny, things like that. So it was more of a rearranging, cleaning out your cupboard to an extent. Unfortunately, it involves people, which makes it very, very sad and difficult. And hopefully all of those people landed on their feet. But Kodak's pay is almost $29 million, and that's 306 times more than his average employee. So this guy's pulling down $29 million a year. Here's why this is completely irrelevant, to be honest with you. And this fact right here, 92% of shareholders voted to approve this pay package. 92%. Some companies, I don't even think some companies have 20% approve it, and they still do it. So that is a really good number. You gotta really think at the time that this was voted on must have been really rocking. The company had to have been really rocking. Be interesting to see if a revote happened where this would land, because I have a feeling I doubt he would get 92% again. But either way, he got 92%. He's got roughly $29 million in pay, and to me that's okay. I mean, with the information that I have, I got to tell you, I'm not that blown away by that. But let's go to Andrew Wilson of EA. Andrew Wilson actually earns even more, which isn't a shocker. EA is a massive, massive company. He's netting $728,764, so about 36 mil rounded up, which is 371 times more than his average employee. But once again, shareholders, 97% of EA shareholders approve this pay package. Bobby Kotick is 45th on the top 100 of what As You Sow is calling overpaid, and Andrew Wilson is 98th. Obviously, they use a lot of different data to compile this list as to who's overpaid, and we'll take a look at the list here in a second. A little framework on the report. It says the report notes that while shareholders have started to oppose huge amounts of cash being earned by CEOs, their pay is still increasing. Overall CEO pay does increase, according to the ISS. The average pay for a CEO in the S&P 500 grew from $11.5 million on average in 2013 to $13.6 million in 2017. These are not alarming numbers, to be honest. I mean, this is incredibly on track with the economy, with inflation, with all those things. This is not alarming at all. Let's flip over to the As You Sow article, and I'm telling you, this thing is long. They have graphs and all kinds of stuff. I skimmed through this. I did not read a lot of this. In fact, you had to scroll way down just to get to the top 100. I mean, this thing is a beast of an article. But we're jumping down to Appendix A, which is just a list here. And what they're listing is rank, company, CEO, pay, what they believe is their excess pay, what the percentage of votes were. Well, that's actually really good. And the CEO worker pay, the CEO to worker ratio, what their pay is versus their employees. The top 10 kind of surprised me. Like, okay, Walt Disney. Here's a good one. Bob Iger. This is a massively profitable company, and this guy's at $36 million. 787 to 1, yes. But this is a multi-billion-dollar company right here. How are you saying at $36 million this guy's overpaid? Let me see here. How about Broadcom? Also a massive company. $103 million? I don't know. If I were Bob, I'd be going in and saying, hey, I think I need a raise. Okay, so how about this guy at CSX Corp? What? CSX? Really? Hunter Harrison? 151 mil? And somehow the 78% of the shareholders approve this? 1,531 to 1 is his pay ratio to his employees. Yeah, I think he should probably be in the top 3. Hey, if we scroll down here, whoa, what's Netflix? Reed Hastings. 24 mil. Again, a very successful, profitable, growing company. Although they've taken a few hits, but still, got to tell you, this one seems fair. We jump down here to number 45, and there's our boy Robert Kotick. So there he is. It is 28.5 mil, 92% approval. As you can see, I don't believe Pfizer has a 93, but other than that, you got a couple more 92s. Not a lot of people ahead of him in terms of approval rating. Here's this guy at 25% board approval. Yeah, I mean, some of these are crazy numbers. And then I think you have to go all the way down to the bottom of this thing to get to EA, which you do. And I scrolled through this, and I don't see any other gaming companies on here. 35 mil, 97%, 371 one. Now, at least Andrew's at the bottom of the list here. But anyway, two of the biggest gaming companies land on this list. Like I said, I'll link this below. Yeah. Do I think that these two are overpaid? Not necessarily, no. Believe me, I started on the ground. I mean, I'm not what do I want to say, a pencil pusher by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, I'm a corporate guy. Now, I understand, how the corporate setting works to some extent. I'm not necessarily in that inner circle, boardroom, top 10 positions in a company, but I do interact with those types of people. And I got to tell you, this is not shocking to me. I don't necessarily think that this pay is unfair, as hard as that may sound. Now, it's tough when you look at a guy like Kotick, who they just laid off 800 people, and you would like to think, hey, those 800 people probably made up for what, $3 million a year in salary? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to determine. Maybe $3 million is a huge overestimation. I don't know, but you would think that maybe some type of deal could have been restructured to keep some of these people. I think that's a fair argument too. It's a tough situation, but at the end of the day, I don't necessarily think that these CEOs are overpaid as far as a position goes. Now, I'm not educated enough on their performance per se. Now, I got to tell you, if the guy had record numbers in 2018, like they said on the earnings call, then he's probably okay. I'm not really going to scrutinize that level of pay for performance. Being the business person that I am, I have to separate my emotion from the performance. So the emotion side says, boy, they just laid off 800 people. What a piece of garbage. But the business side says they just restructured their company. They got rid of 800 people to make room for more development, to build first-party games, to build better products, to sell and market, coming off of a 2018 that was a record year financially for them. Those are tough things to say, but that's reality. That's it for today. I mean, that's really all I had. I just wanted to kind of show this list off, see what you all thought. Let me know in the comments below. Am I wrong? Is this pay just absolutely outrageous? Let me know. Tell me what you think. If you like the video, please give it a like. I really appreciate those that have. Just come check out the channel, check out what I'm about. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like it, you hate it, whatever. I just really appreciate the feedback. But as far as that goes, that's all I got for you tonight. I hope you all have a great rest of the night, and I'll see you on the next one.